This conference will now be recorded.
Jamie, it's John Zabel. I'm having problems logging in again.
I did not record it.
Should I start again?
Can you hear me, Jamie?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I can hear you, John. We can't see you, that's all.
Yeah, because what is the login for the web? I've been trying to get on for the past 25 minutes.
Well, you want me? I can.
John, you ready? I'm sorry. John?
No, because I wasn't provided the pin for the online portion of the meeting. I cannot find it. What Susmitha just provided me is
John, I
says
just sent to your email the link that everybody clicked and joined onto this meeting. Can you click
it
that?
says meeting not. It says this page is not found currently.
Well, Barry and everybody else joined like that.
I joined by the ID number on the agenda. Steve Law
Yeah,
here.
which is 7. Can you guys just confirm what that is for me, please?
752-577-397. You can go the long way, global.gotomeeting.com/join/ and then enter that number.
Yeah, that's what I have, and it's for whatever reason mine is not registering it.
Well, you must be, because we can hear you.
No, I called in via my phone.
Oh, you're caller number 2.
Yeah, hold on. Here we go. I'm gonna try something else.
Okay.
I had no problem.
In the meantime, Jamie, you can do your spiel because it is being recorded.
Well, so Smith, I just lost. Smith, I should start again, correct? Is that what you're saying? Let me start again because you weren't recording, I don't think. All right, so I'd like to call the meeting, the April 9th meeting of the Architecture Review Board to order. Before we get started, something I need to read into the record. This is Jamie Millward, Chairman of the Architecture Review Board in the town of Stratford. Coronavirus pandemic, we are conducting the April 9, 2020 Architecture Review Board meeting virtually via gotomeeting.com. Quorum for this meeting is a total of 3 members, which we have. In attendance are the following ARB members: Shannon Hovan, member; Tom Sarkowitz, member; John Zabel, member; Steve Law, vice chairman; and myself, Jamie Millward, chairman. In attendance are Susmitha Atoda, town planner; attorney Barry Knott; petitioner James Fitzpatrick; and Aileen Marsh, recording secretary. Before beginning the regular business of this meeting, I'd like to remind all the participants to raise their hand if they would like to speak. I will then recognize you as chairman and instruct you to proceed. Each and every time you speak throughout the course of the meeting, and regardless of the number of times you've spoken previously, you must begin by stating your name and title, such as ARB member, petitioner, attorney representing, etc. This is required per Governor Lamont's executive order, which gives us the authority to schedule this virtual meeting. So with that being said, and if everyone's clear on that, I'd like to start with the regular business of the board and approval of minutes, starting with the minutes of November 14th, 2019. Has everyone had an opportunity to review, and are there any comments? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion? Steve?
Yeah, Vice Chairman Steve Law, I make a motion that we accept the minutes of November 14th, 2019 as written.
Chairman Jamie Millward, is there a second? John?
John Zabel, ARB member. I would like to second.
Jamie Millward, chair. All in favor? Raise your hand by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Jamie Millward, chairman, all opposed? The minutes are adopted for April 9th unanimously. The special meeting of April 2nd, 2020. is our Jamie Millward chairman. Are there any comments? Jamie Millward chairman, do I have a motion?
Vice Chair, motion that we accept the minutes of April 2nd, 2020.
Jamie Millward chair, we have a motion to accept the minutes. Is there a second? Shannon,
Jim Moban, ARB member, second.
Jamie Millward chairman. All in favor? Sorry. Raise your right hand.
We have a lot of,
Jamie Millward chairman, all opposed? Jamie Millward chairman, the meeting minutes are passed unanimously for April 2nd. Okay, we get to the hard part. Jamie Millward chairman, like to call forward, I'm not sure who's presenting this initially, but 577 Hawley Lane Diner petition of to zoning commission by petitioner James R. Fitzpatrick for building a 2,250 square foot diner at the subject property.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Barry Knott. I'm a lawyer with the firm of Knott and Dunn with offices at 1656 Main Street, Stratford. And I'm here this evening on behalf of Par One Development LLC, which is located at 225 Hawley Lane, Stratford, the managing member of which is Jim Fitzpatrick, who is also with us tonight. And I want to give you a little background information regarding this site before Jim talks about the architectural issues. The subject premise is an abandoned single-family house located at 577 Hawley Lane. The property is located immediately to the north of the medical building at 495 Hawley Lane and is located 2 parcels to the north of the Northtown Shopping Center, also known as the Big Y Shopping Center. It is located directly across the street from one of the entrances to the Marriott Hotel and another medical office building known as the Waynick Group. Further up Hawley Lane towards Huntington Road, our property is owned by the state of Connecticut and 2 condominium developments, one consisting of 9 units and one consisting of 40 units. Submitted with the application are an 11 by 17 full set of plans prepared by the engineering office of Cabezas D'Angelo. And the sheets are C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, and C7. The ones that we're going to talk about tonight are C1 and C2. All right. Then there's 3 sets of architectural plans. They're all the same. One of them is, it's a 1-sheet plan. One of them is 8.5 by 11. One of them is 11 by 17, and one of them is 24 by 36. But they're all the same plan. I also included 2 aerial photographs, one showing the location of the site in relation to the general neighborhood, and one showing the abandoned house on the site where the restaurant is proposed, which is the subject of this application. The existing condition survey, which is sheet C1 of the engineering plans, shows the existing single-family house currently on the site. The site consists of 139,390 square feet, 3.2 acres. It's a long, narrow lot. You can see the size and location of the lot in the upper portion of Exhibit C1. There is 224 feet of frontage on Hawley Lane. The lot extends back 1,168 feet on the southwesterly border and 1,350 feet on its northeasterly boundary. You will note that this exhibit consists of 2 components. One that is a rectangular box at the top of the page. If you scan that down a little, Susmitha, you'll see there's a rectangular box at the top of the page that shows the whole site. Yeah, there you are. Okay, that's the whole lot. The second component, the bottom half of this exhibit, is just that portion of the site which is going to be the subject of the construction activity. It's a very small percentage of the site because most of the site is wetlands. Of the 3.2 acres, we're going to be developing about 25,000 square feet at the street. The rest of it is going to be encumbered by a conservation easement in favor of the town of Stratford. So of the 3.2 acres, half acre is going to be used in the development. The rest of it's going to be conservation easement. Now, in the schematic that's on the screen right now, you can see that there's a line that goes around the back of the house. It's kind of like a circular shape that has black points in it from time to time. That is the wetland area to the right of the proposed location. And that's the area that is going to be mitigated and ultimately conserved by the conservation easement. That line represents the encroachment of wetlands onto the site. And because of this wetland encroachment, as I indicated, we're limited to the first few hundred feet back from Hawley Lane. And this application, because of its proximity to wetlands, was the subject of an inland wetlands application, an approval which we have received. Sheet C2 is the proposed site development showing what we are planning, and that is a single story, 2,250 square foot structure proposed for a full service restaurant with a Class D liquor license permit on the site, including a 400 square foot outdoor patio seating 16. There are 38 parking spaces associated with this development. As you can see from this exhibit, the lot is long and narrow, of which only $23,696 square feet, or 0.17 acres, is being used for the proposed development. As I indicated, the rest of the site will be conserved by a conservation easement. I said 38 parking spaces. There's 36 plus 2 ADA compliant. This site plan also shows a 10-foot by 7-foot enclosed dumpster pad, city sewers, storm drainage, electric, gas, telephone cable, and fiber optics are available at the street. As I indicated, the property is located directly on Hawley Lane, midway between the intersection of Nichols Avenue and Hawley Lane to the west, and the intersection of Hawley Lane and Huntington Road to the east, directly across from the Marriott Hotel. The property abuts to the north the 15-acre site, which contains the 118,835 square foot North Town Center shopping center. Diagonally across from this site is the 340,000 square foot shopping center where Target's, Kohl's, Home Goods, Best Buy, and others are located. In January of 2017, the Zoning Commission approved a zone change from single-family residential, which it had been, to CF. CF is Stratford's limited business zone. When I say limited business, I mean business uses are permitted, but they're permitted by special case approval, which means that we have to submit an application, we have to submit a site plan, we have to go to the public hearing, and the Zoning Commission has discretion by which they can approve or deny or modify an application. That's what I mean by limited business. So this is now zone limited business. On January 12, 2018, the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission approved this application. And finally, on February 18, 2018, the Zoning Commission approved a special case application and a soil erosion control application for exactly the same use and exactly the same site plan as we are proposing tonight. Now, that February 2018 special case approval required that a building permit be taken out within 18 months of the date of approval, or the approval would lapse. Unfortunately, a building permit was not taken out within that 18-month deadline, and therefore a new application needed to be submitted, which is what I'm here for on tonight. However, just so that you know, under Connecticut law, as long as the new application is exactly the same as the old application, the Zoning Commission must approve the new application. So it's a procedure that we're going through because we need to go through it. But the Zoning Commission doesn't really have any discretion to deny this application because they already approved it once, and this is exactly the same application as was approved the last time. So at this time, I want to introduce Jim Fitzpatrick, the managing member of PAR 1, the owner of the site, and the person who will be developing the site, and he can talk to you about architectural aspects of it. Jim?
Hello, petitioner Jim Fitzpatrick. Basically, it's 2,250 square feet. We designed a a building that we believe will fit within the neighborhood. It's a single-story structure. We're going to have large glass windows on the front and the sides. We're going to have two means of access and egress on the sides directly from the parking lot, and also going off into the patio area that's facing the building to the left-hand side of the structure. There you go. And we have a shape, a roof that's like a hip, but we added a Dutch or a Boston gable on top of it. The reasoning for that is I wanted to give it some design flair, and in that first section that sticks above that little gable end dormer or a vent that's sitting in the front there, there's a pitched area. I don't know exactly what size it is, but my thoughts were to put a clock on both sides in there as a kind of a focal point for the cars coming either way. Just give it a little character. Just try to work it into so everybody kind of sees the building to look for the clock. Hey, what time is it? So on and so forth. Basically, going to make it a nicest looking building as I can. You know, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to keep glass. We're going to do. We're going to compartmentalize it. We're going to do raised panels. We're not going to have a lot of joints in the siding and on the entrance sides, the front, the street frontage, or the patio area off to the left. It's going to be a maintenance-free structure. It's not going to be, if it turns out to be a vinyl, it'll be a form of a vinyl that won't look like a vinyl. It'll look really good. I'm thinking about on the bottom, in between the raised panels under the windows, adding some sort of a stone in there as well, just to give it a little bit of character, just so it's a nice looking building that you know, it'll draw people into, regardless of the use of being a diner. And in the outside, the left-hand patio area, that's just going to have its own side exit and entrance. That patio is large enough for 16 tables, or I think four to six tables. Anyway, 16 to 20 people maybe on the outside. There's a total of 70 to 80 people that'll be you know, able to seat nicely and comfortably inside and outside. We're going to try to extend that patio season-wise, you know, open it up early in the spring, certainly through the summer, and then, you know, break it out into the fall. I'm also thinking about some sort of a fire pit that I'll go over with Fire Chief Lampard on, and it'll be controlled by gas. It won't be open to logs or anything like that, just so you can sit out there and enjoy the cool weather in the fall and extend the dining time outside. So it's going to be a diner, but it's going to have a little bit of a restaurant flair as well. The interior, it's about 70 some odd seats in there, including countertop or counter seating. It's going to be serviced by handicap men's and ladies restrooms, a full service restroom for the staff, kitchen staff, that'll access from the kitchen. So all the diners will have their own restroom if they need it, and it'll all be self-contained in the dining area, where you know, I'm going to have a combination of tile. I'm going to have a combination of wood. We're going to have lofted ceilings. I'm going to have high ceilings. I'm looking at maybe 12-foot minimum, maybe a potential a little bit more, but probably 12 feet. And then the roof will be a full truss clear span roof, ceiling, and it'll also act as a flat roof in a portion on the back side where all the rooftop utilities will be hidden. The HVAC ductwork and the vent work for the exhaust hoods, kitchen hood, and the restroom fans. And as far as the colors go, I'm still. Barry said, "Why can't you just pick a color, Jim?" Well, I can't. I want to be in. I want to make it nice. Could it be in the brown tones? Yes. Could it be in the gray tones? Yes. Whatever it's going to be, I'm going to make sure that it's nice. I have samples coming into me about the windows, because the windows are either going to be a storefront where they'll be powder coated, or it'll be a kind of an Anderson window type that I can also get a 400 series that I can get a colors on. So putting all that together as this process moves on, and basically all the parking facing the building is off to the right-hand side, as you saw with the site plan, and it's all safe access into the restaurant and access away, and then into the parking lot, so there's no crossing the street or anything like that. So it should be a pretty safe site. And also, I'm going to have a buffer on the street side of to protect trees, evergreen trees that'll protect the diner. Sitting at the patron sitting outside, having dinner, lunch, breakfast, whatever. My hours of operation, I haven't really decided if we're gonna build into it. I know I'm gonna be open at 5 in the morning because I want to try to get the commuters. I'm glad you brought that up. That if you look at the small evergreen trees that are in the property, there's like 3 or 4 in a stack. That's actually the east side of the building, where the patio area would be to the right of that. So the building would go from those trees approximately 50 feet south or west along the road, and into the first portion of this house here. And all parking is going to be where you see all the dirt and all the silt fence and the rest of the building. So it's pretty well self-contained. I'm going to probably end up putting a couple of stone pillars on either side. May have some lighting on those, and we're also putting sidewalks from property in the full property going down towards town center. So whoever walks on that side can get into a sidewalk and then cross over and get into the shopping center. And that actually, I agreed to that, at the planning and zoning meeting, but it needs a sidewalk anyway. I want to have foot traffic come into the restaurant or the diner. And the roof, I can get back to the roof. The roof will be like an architectural design. It just won't be a flat roof. It'll be architectural shingles, and I'll have certain little design nuances in there that'll make it a standout building. That's pretty good. If there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Barry, that concludes our presentation. Can't hear you, Jamie.
All right, can you hear me now? Yes.
Yes.
Jamie Millward, Chairman. So Susmitha, when you share your screen, if we're going to comment, I can't see everyone's picture then, so I don't see I cannot see everyone's picture, so I can't see if they raise their hand or not. So I'm not sure if there's a way to change that or not, but right now I can see Susmitha, Jim, Barry, and Aileen, and that's it. So I don't know if I just go around and ask each person if they have comments that way rather than raise their hand, and we'll see if that works. Susmitha.
Hi, Susmitha, Town Planner. Jamie, I think when we are talking, I will remove the screen sharing And when somebody wants me to refer back to a slide, they can ask me to put the slide back up. I'm just putting, all the slides back here so that everybody knows what information we have that we can share. So if you or the other members want to comment on one of these slides, let me know and I'll pull that back up. And then you can ask me to end it, and then I'll go back to stop screen share.
Okay, Jamie Millward, Chairman. So are there any comments or questions by raising your hand? I'll select somebody from the ARB members. Susmita, can you take that screen down for the moment? John Zabel.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry for my difficulties logging in. Can everybody hear me now? I shut my phone off.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I have a point of order. So this is John Zabel, member. Sorry about that. Susmitha or Jamie, is it allowable for us to share our screen too? I'm operating with 2 screens. I have all my own stuff kind of up here. I can go through whatever figures or photos that I want to refer to. So if we could do that, that would be helpful as well.
Well, Barry, not. This is a presentation by the applicant. It's not a presentation by the commission. You can ask us questions about what we presented. It's not usually actually, I've never seen commissioners submit exhibits at a hearing at which the applicant is making a presentation. I've never seen that happen.
No, Barry, I'm sorry. Let me clarify. I have all of your exhibits, photographs, PDFs of your images. I have all that available on my own screen. That way, rather than trying to say 30 feet left of the stop line or 40 feet from the building corner, I can just point at it on my own screen. I'm sorry.
Yes, you can do that, John. Yes, you can do that.
Okay, sorry about that, Barry. I should have been more clear. So, Jamie, if you wouldn't mind, then I guess I'll go first, if I could.
Jamie Millward, Chairman. Yes, that's fine. John, make sure you identify yourself each time you start to speak, though. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Smith, I'm going to ask to share the screen, and then I'll flip through my stuff. So let's give this a try, I guess.
You can present now, John.
Okay, so I'm assuming everyone could see over here. I just want to got a couple different things up. So I guess I'll start with the plan here. Everyone can see this fairly well.
Yep.
Okay. So to the applicant, I definitely appreciate the sidewalks. That was one of the things I definitely cued in on, understanding that all your properties connected, and I just did not see it on this map. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Relative to the street trees here, again, I like the front detail of this. I'll get into that a little bit more later. But relative to these trees, are these trees going to encumber potentially on the view that you'll have of the restaurant? I understand their visual screening for the diners, but just wondered kind of proposed elevation of those and how that'll encumber the aesthetics of the building.
Jim Fitzpatrick, petitioner, you're absolutely right on that. That was the early on stages of design that we ended up staying with, for our zoning application. Those 2 or 3 trees actually will be eliminated. I'm going to be putting some low shrubbery, low growth where those trees are from that, let's say the left corner going towards the right. So there'll be low shrubs. There'll be a sidewalk in front of that. The evergreen trees will be to the left, shrouding the diner area, the diners as they're having as they're eating outdoors. So yes, you'll see the full restaurant as you drive by.
Okay. Also, just another screening question. I know our guidelines that we've provided to the public indicate trying to screen any dumpster pads or any other activity that would be occurring behind, understanding the layout of the lot, and that the parking has to go basically, in essence, behind half of the building or a third of the building here. Is there visual screening for the dumpster and this other loading area? So there's not going to be those food type racks that are out there, you know what I mean, that hold bread and other things that you'd see at a grocer, and also the dumpster area.
Jim Fitzpatrick petitioner, you're right on that as well. That's one of my pet peeves. I absolutely fight with that every day. There will be screening. There'll be the normal, the dumpster pad will be fenced with the fence with the coating around it. I may have a storage container out there that will be able to take storage like dry goods or something like that, you know, like paper plates and what have you. So that'll all be screened up. You're absolutely right. So that's one of the things. It's kind of a work in progress, but people that know me know that I really fidget with things far too much and spend far too much time making things work. That's definitely a big key thing for me. That area is only for just unloading food. There'll be no trucks in there or anything like that for a length of time. You know, there'll be no overnight parking or anything like that. So the dumpster will be taken care of. I'll throw a couple of trees around there. I've got to see how I can work it out. I've got to make sure that I have access for the refuse collector. And I also need to cover it and shroud it from the outside sitting in the patio. You know, they don't want to be looking at something like that. So I'll probably throw a section of fence, a couple sections as a break, maybe some more, maybe, you know, some shrubbery or something like that, low shrub. I don't want to make it, you know, like tree land, like you're walking into tree land. You want to have some nice area, open air, so the air flows through there. But it'll definitely be covered up, and it'll look nice. And to my satisfaction, and to your good, you know, work pointing that out, it is a concern of mine. And dumpster areas are always the hardest to maintain because, you know, if you're a dumpster driver, you should be able to open up the gate, drive in, pick up the dumpster, and put it back right where you picked it up from. That never happens. So I'm a real stickler with that. So.
Okay.
All right, Jamie Miller, Chairman. John, I just want to remind you again, you need to identify, the last couple of times, you need to identify yourself each time you speak. So go ahead.
Okay. Sorry about that. Again, John Zabel, commission member. One other quick point relative to here. It looks like there's going to be a circular flow of traffic here. What is the access going to be off of the sidewalk, Jim? Is that through this tree area here, right out onto this concrete walk? And if so, I guess, is there any thought about anything on the street here for people coming over? I'm sure one of the largest uses is going to be the hotel. As Barry pointed out, you guys do share almost a common driveway right across the street from one another. So what was the consideration for that? And along those same lines, any aesthetics for something like that, connectivity?
Well, it is across the street. You're right. We did talk about that. And I think I handled it with that I would be speaking with the police on that as to if we can put a crossing bar, you know, across the street, you know, and I don't know. I mean, we'd have to work that out with both Stratford and Trumbull. Right. As far as getting across the street that way, if they, you know, walkers come down the driveway of the shopping center or come across, you know, they could get onto the sidewalk. We wanted to keep, that's why I wanted to keep the entry on the side of the building coming in from the parking lot. So that was a lot safer. And now that we have the sidewalk going through, you know, you'll be able to get down and actually enter. There'll be a little sidewalk spur coming off of that side door for where the outside dining is onto the main sidewalk on the street. So there'll be complete access. It's just how, you know, I agree with you. It's, you know, how you're going to handle that. And, you know, it could turn out to be a traffic decision, though. Traffic will get involved because, you know,
Very not. That's going to be a request we're going to make from both the Stratford Traffic Commission and the Trumbull Traffic Commission to put a walkway across. We need permission from both. They'll tell us where they want it to go, and that's what's going to happen.
Okay, no, great. John Zabel again, commission member. Just a couple things on the outside of the building. Again, I like the idea of the patio. As you mentioned, you may stone some of the front. Is that something that these little, I think you were talking about these little areas here that I'm showing underneath the window. Would that be something that you'd be blending in to the stone? It looks like stone potentially around this knee wall where the patio is.
Right. Potentially, yeah. I wanted to keep some stone. I was actually looking at also a stone column going up in between the windows, but I just need to develop my plans a little bit more. I like the idea of the raised panel. I think that's nice. It's clean. It's also cost efficient. You know, I wanted to have 2 pillars over on each side of the driveway, you know, one on each side of the driveway, you know, you know, so you see the, you know, you point out the driveway and also maybe potentially put some light on it. Even though I'm going to have some site lights, lighting there. And that's what I do. I tie things in together. So you're right on that as well. And if it turns out that in that first table that you see next to the building, that actually is going to be a 3-foot walkway. So right out the door, because I have to leave that free and clear, and that door is going to swing into the property, not out to the street the way it is now. We're going to swing it the other way. So if you exit, you're going to exit for any reason. If you want to exit from inside, you're going to exit and then go left onto the sidewalk. So you won't have to walk around that door. So that door will swing, you know, it'll be a right-hand swing. So, and then, so that'll be a break in there. That'll be a 3-foot break. And then where you see the patio, depending on the noise, you know, the road noise and what have you, I wanted to look at it for trees and also maybe a small section of fencing to go in there to give a little bit of privacy, you know, to the diner, so they can eat in peace and quiet without, you know, eating on Main, so to speak, sitting on Main Street. So, you know, that's kind of all a work in progress. I don't know if that's a good answer for you, but that's kind of where I am with it. I'm going to make it nice. I'm going to make it comfortable, and I want to make it safe. You know, if there's any children out there, for instance, I don't want them to be able to be running around, you know, at all.
And then John Zabel again, this is my last question for now. I'll bring up stuff later. I don't want to steal everyone's thunder here. It's kind of weird that I go and nobody else can really comment yet. The last thing is this large, what I consider to be large, unarticulated facade here, other than this gable that you pointed out. I'm assuming this is being squared off at the top to protect rooftop units. I think you had mentioned that. Unfortunately, none of the plans, including the civil plan over here, it just had the building. It doesn't show any detail as to what would be on the roof or what this could be protecting. The one thing that jumped out at me is, besides being unarticulated, you don't show any sort of siding or anything there, was the relatively small size of this gable and then where it's located in proportion to the other roof lines. And again, I'll let a couple of the other commission members, if they have comment on that. I just wondered, in order to, again, you got a lot going on down here. Like I said, I really enjoyed these panels at the bottom to below the windows, which accentuate the windows. I like this break here. It looks like you have some sort of sign plan for the middle, which I like. It broke up some of this long area underneath the roof. But what jumped out at me when I first opened this set of plans when we got them was there really isn't much going on here other than this gable. And I do like the idea of the clock though too. So if you could just speak to that, and then I'm all set. Thank you.
Jim Fitzpatrick, petitioner. I actually was thinking about the clock on that, where it goes up and it looks like it's flat. It's not really. It's like another gable end. It's like a Dutch gable at the at that side on the roof side, because this is a hip roof. So there'll be a gable sitting on top of that. That's where I wanted to put the clock on either side, on the west side and the east side. That's what I wanted to look at as we develop the plans, even further. And I have some truss work in there that I was looking at. This one little gable, is fine, but that's basically just for, for ventilation. But directly behind that, there'll be an area, a flat roof area that will be covered, even from the parking lot to a point where you won't see offensive, rooftop units in the hood system for the kitchen. So I wanted to be, careful of that as well. So if you're driving east or driving west, you're really not going to see that. You're just going to look at the design of the building. So, it may turn out that I don't like this Dutch gable, and we have to do something, something else to make it look good. But, yeah, you're right. Even with the white doesn't look good there. If it had architectural shingles on it, I think, it would present itself better to you, and look better. It's a long roof, but it'll be a nice clean look to it.
Okay, Jamie Moore, Chairman, I was going to have Shannon go to Susmitha. Do you have a comment here? Go ahead.
Hi, Susmitha Tota, Town Planner. Jim, could you just let us know what the color scheme of this proposed building is going to be?
Well, Patrick Petitioner. Again, and I'm not trying to be difficult here. I don't know if it's going to be earth tones or it's going to be grays, and I should be able to make a decision on that. But I'm leaning more towards the earth tones, the browns and the tans. That'll go with the stone rather than the, a gray stone. I just think that'll fit, kind of fit the area that I've already developed. You kind of continue that kind of flare, that design coming down. And that's it. But it all has to tie in together. So I have the window trim, the window frames themselves. Then I have to figure the trim. Then I have to figure the raised panel, whatever siding is going to be on the side and the rear, and then the roof. So it'll all tie in together. It could be a combination of tan, a mix of tan and little darker chocolate, whatever on the roof as an architectural. And then we'll pick up the window, color, maybe a dark there. And then the siding will come down as the lighter color. And then you get the stone that'll blend in, in with it all. So pretty much.
Susmitha Tota, Town Planner again. Jim, I was driving by that area and I saw that your neighbors, where the Big Y and the Milford Pediatrics and other retail stores are located, they all have a coordinated color scheme, and they all have maybe it was developed by one developer, but that's a good color scheme for that area. And I'm not suggesting that you should copy it, but did you take a look at it? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Jim Fitzpatrick Petitioner. Do you mean the shopping center?
Yes.
The Big Y is?
Yes.
I had a lot to do with that.
He built it.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah, I built it.
And the medical building.
And the medical building in the front. I built the DeVita building. I only did the site work on the medical building. I sold that property to my doctor friend, and he built it. So that's all but those were my plans. So those are my designs. Yeah, that's DeVita right there. And that's pretty much, do you like the look of that?
Yes, Susmitha Tota again. I did think that, I had that when I saw the design of your roof and your building, and I look at the buildings nearby, I thought there's some connection there because they look a little bit similar. But yes, I do like the color scheme, and that whole area looks so coordinated with the same color scheme there.
Right.
And the roof has a different color, like the pale green. It is a good look for that area if you are thinking of doing the same thing for your proposed building. I mean, that's my personal opinion. You could talk to the other members of the ARB too, but I think it'll just make that whole area look very synchronized in terms of design and aesthetics.
Jim Fitzpatrick, petitioner. I agree with you 100%. And that the Vita building, I had no idea what that was going to look like until I had it up, and then I decided, and I picked the colors as we were building it. So that's, you know, that's not the greatest thing to do, but I knew what the was on the stone, and I knew what the drive it was, and I knew what the moldings were. So it didn't matter, but I didn't know the colors, and so I was
Barry, what he's not telling you is that he didn't own the land and he didn't take out a building permit when he put the building up.
Dispatch petitioner. And there's some things that my lawyer shouldn't be talking about. Jeez.
Okay, Jamie Millward, Chairman. I think Shannon had raised her hand next. If we can take this, maybe take the picture down. I don't know who put that up, but Shannon, you ready to go next?
Shannon Hovan, board member. Mr. Fitzpatrick, thank you for your submissions here. The materials were quite detailed. Have a few just general comments and questions for you. The first is when you were presenting earlier, you had mentioned that you hadn't really nailed down an exterior siding material at the moment. I just want to make reference to the commercial design guidelines that the board and I had developed some months ago and made shared with the public. And section 2.b.e, where we talk about materials and colors, we do mention trying to avoid the use of any vinyl or aluminum for siding. So as you consider developing the facade of your building further, if you could just, consider not using vinyl or aluminum siding, and where you can, natural materials as much as possible. I think that would be, we would really take that in, we would take that into consideration. The second thing was, I know you haven't nailed a color scheme down yet, but if you do decide to go an earthy route, which I think as previously discussed would work really well with the context where the building is, if we could maybe see a colored elevation of what that might look like with the different layers of textures that you were talking about. I don't think all 4 elevations are really required, but perhaps a colored version of the west elevation that you provided on sheet A1.1, and even an additional maybe south elevation where the building entrance is. Would be nice to see those 2 elevations colored when you decide on a color scheme. And thirdly, I don't know if maybe I'm misreading it, but just in reference to the site plan sheet C-2, I don't see the entrance articulated or shown. I believe it's on the south elevation of the building where that 6-foot concrete walk is. So the entrance would in effect project out into that concrete walk. Is that correct?
Jim Fitzpatrick, petitioner. Yes, that's absolutely correct. That was an add-on, but fit within the building lines. But that also gave me the 2 entrances, one from the parking lot, one from the street side, with the double door that way. And yeah, no, you're welcome, and thank you for your comments. And
I do have one more for you quickly.
Sure. Yeah.
And it is just in reference to bike racks and furniture. I apologize if I missed it. I have them printed quite small. But were you planning on incorporating any site furniture or benches? That's my final question as well. So I will pass it over to you. Thank you.
Okay, Jim Fitzpatrick, petitioner. The only benches that I was going to have, it wouldn't even be a bench, would be tables, would be the outside dining over there. Truthfully, I didn't even think about bikes and a bicycle rack. If there's a way, that one could be. And I think, that's not the end of the world. I think if we could do that, we would. I just need to, I'd have to look at it. I'd have to look at it. And as far as the colors go, sure, I can get a color scheme. I did actually speak with my architect. He's out of Groton. And, like everyone, he's got some time on his hands right now. He was really jammed, and that's why I couldn't get any colors. But now I can, so I could do a color scheme. I probably will go with the tan and the brown earth tones. When I don't like vinyl any more than anybody else likes vinyl, but the vinyl that I use, when I use it sparingly, and I put it in areas and I put it up so where it's a good quality vinyl that it really doesn't look like vinyl. And I use the I use the better corners, the thick wood composite corner, well, not wood, but the composite corners. So, I don't want to cheapen it up either. So I'm with you. I'm on the same page you are. And just, I have to just pick out the colors, which I will.
Okay, Jamie Millward, Chair. Shannon, one more comment? Go ahead.
Shannon Hogan, board member. I just want to thank Mr. Fitzpatrick for answering. Thank you.
All right, Jamie Millward, Board Chair. Why don't we just, Tom, you're next on my screen. Why don't you step up next?
Tom Sharkowitz, board member. I see on the plan that there is a sign at the entrance. And I just want to make sure that that's more of a monumental sign, something that has real precedence with a better quality material, something that mimics the Big Y Plaza sign, I think would be appropriate. It also makes a nicer entrance. The landscaping, I don't know if this has been revised or what since these plans were submitted, but there's a lot of pin oaks for the street trees, which just aren't on our recommended list. If you're considering still going with street trees like that, maybe choose something from the list. I do like the holly shrubs because they're evergreen and they're attractive all year round, but I see that hydrangea are also specified at the Holly Lane elevation. And those are just a seasonal shrub. I would rather have like a flowering plant on the driveway side, just because they're dead in the winter and evergreens are evergreen and make for a nicer building throughout the year. I thought the fire pit was awesome. I don't know if the fire department is going to approve that, but I think that's a real seller for the location and makes it more of a destination. I thought that was a really cool idea. I'm not sure about the roof line though. It sort of, don't take this in any other way, but it sort of reminded me of Pizza Hut. And maybe it's just more simplified. I know you said you wanted to incorporate a clock, and maybe a cupola is a more appropriate architectural element to incorporate a clock or a vent. Other than that, I thought it was a nice building, and I think it would be a real asset to that area.
Jim Fitzpatrick, petitioner. I thank you for your comments, and I agree with you. I can take that Dutch gable off in a heartbeat. I'm not set on that. And a nice cupola up there, actually in the center, with the clock either way would look really nice. So either way, we're gonna, and I can end up with the flat roof in the back that nobody will see from, I'm okay with with rethinking that. As far as the shrubbery goes, I agree. I mean, you eat with your eyes basically, but you also want to go to a nice place. So you want to say, geez, this is really, I like to pull in here. This looks really nice. If this looks good outside, maybe the inside just as good or even better. And that's what I want. I want it to be a good field place that you have fun and you get a good meal, whether it's, 5 o'clock in the morning or, 8 o'clock at night. So I'm going to work hard to get that done and dress up the front and the pylon sign. I can tell you flat out, I'm not going to do what I did for North Town Center. That was so expensive, it was unbelievable. I'll do something really nice, but not like that. So that was a shock to me, to be honest with you. As far as the landscaping goes, we'll get the current list of plantings and that you're specifying and would like to see. I don't know one from the other, but I have a friend who does, and that's where I'll be getting all my shrubbery from Treeland. He's my next door neighbor, And so we'll get in the right direction. And I agree with you. I don't want to be do a nice building and then you pull into dormant shrubs when they shouldn't be dormant. So I'm agreeing with with that, because it's you just substitute. It's not a good idea.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Jamie Millward, Chair. If I'm assuming Tom is done. Steve Law.
Yeah, Vice Chairman Steve Law, I want to thank Jim Fitzpatrick and Barry Knott for putting this proposal together for us. Just a few comments. I kind of echoing what Commissioner Zabel brought up was initially I was concerned about sidewalks. I think it's very important that sidewalks are included in that area, and I'm glad to see that that's included, although it wasn't in our preliminary plan. Just another issue that I think we need to see a little bit more in terms of the material on a couple of the elevations. With only one elevation, it's hard to really understand the profile of the Dutch hip. I understand what you're talking about, Jim, but you're saying there's a flat area in the back portion for equipment. So presumably all that equipment would be screened by the Dutch gambrel roof. And again, I think we need to see a little bit of more detail in terms of the material selections identified on the plan. I know, I believe you have all good intentions, but I think we really need to see something documented on the plan. Again, I think correct me if I'm wrong, but Barry, you said that this was previously in planning and zoning, has some approval?
Yes.
It seems like as our commission is getting started, we're sometimes a little bit too late. I'm just thinking the outside patio would have been much probably more friendlier if it was positioned closer to the entry of the building. It seems like it's a little bit out of the way. I don't know if it's too late for any repositioning, but it doesn't really, I don't think it relates to the street very well, and it would be, I think, better received if it was up front there.
Barry Knott, I can respond to that if you'd like, Steve.
Thank you.
Yes, we were previously approved. This exact site plan was approved in 2018. So it was before you guys were set up, which is why you have not had an opportunity to see it before. As far as the patio is concerned, the zoning commission historically has had a problem with the outdoor patios having access directly from the street. They like to see access to the patio coming from inside the building so that they can control underage drinking and that kind of stuff. So that was the reason why we chose this location. And we couldn't put it in the back of the building because of the wetland problems. This area that to the left, as you face it, is dry. And then this was really the only area where we could fit it.
Understood. Just a couple other points. I know in our design guidelines we speak about hardware and other utilities. I think there's a gas meter out front. Is there any way we can pull that gas meter off the front elevation?
There's Jim Fitzpatrick petition. There's no utilities on exposed. I don't know what you're referring to.
Well, I saw a note on C3 that describes the gas service and the water coming into the building. Would there be a meter right there at that northeast corner?
Yeah. Jim Fitzpatrick petitioner. No, I will never put a gas meter or an electrical meter or a water meter in the front of the building. Those will all go on the side. That is a I'm looking at, it's right there, but it's not going to go there. What I'll do is I would bring that down past the patio on that same side, the east side of the building where the patio is, underground. This is all underground, and put it towards the back corner of that building. I'm allowed to do that. So that gas meter would be back there, and it would better service the kitchens as well. As far as the underground, I mean the electric, I'm going to go underground into the building and have a meter either in the back of the building or on the side of the building, so nobody can, it won't be unsightly or nobody can play with it. And as far as the water meter goes, it's just be a meter vault flush to the ground.
Okay, thanks for that clarification.
You're welcome.
Likewise, when we talk about the screening at the dumpster, I think is there a sanitary pump? There might be is there a vent back there that would come up off the sanitary pump? We might want to include that in the screening around the dumpster enclosure.
We just have to see where that pump is going to be positioned exactly in relationship to the tank. It'll also, because I want to get it into the paved area for sure, so we can pave over it and lock everything in with the frames and covers. And if the vent can go there, I'd rather have it to the building, so I know that nobody's going to hit the building. Believe me, the dumpster people, I hope none of you work for a dumpster company or own them, but they're pretty brutal. I'm always replacing fencing and gates and just stuff that doesn't make sense. So if I had it going, the vent going towards the back of the building, again, I try to put it off to the side and go up as I could with it, so not to be a nuisance to anybody.
Okay, thank you. Presumably we could screen that with all the other screening back there.
Jim Fitzpatrick,
Yeah.
Correct. Yes, absolutely.
A couple other points. Just, it seems like that front entry is very tight, and I think you said something about that door being reversed, the entry door from the vestibule.
Jim Fitzpatrick, no, the entry doors are 3 foot. They're 3 foot wide doors off the parking lot area. One off the side, the main sidewalk. The door I was speaking about was off going to service the patio area. That door was going to be reversed, so it's going to swing to the backyard. And then if you had an issue, you could come out of the restaurant and go take a left and go right onto the sidewalk at the street.
Thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
Just a couple other items. I think if there's curbing, we should match the adjacent plaza concrete curbings. And I see lighting poles. It looks like the lighting poles are 20 feet high. If there's any consideration for getting shorter poles, I think we should look at that.
Jim Fitzpatrick, petitioner. Yes, that lighting plan was designed. I think Barry, that the Wetland Commission had input on that because they didn't want light to go into the wetland area and keep the wildlife awake at night.
So I don't remember that, Jimmy.
Yeah, well, I would be more than happy to reduce the height of those poles. It just, as long as I have enough light in there, I want to be cool. Because I don't know what the hours are going to be just exactly yet. I mean, we may just keep, extending the hours, and we don't know what restaurants are going to be, after this. So we want to build into it, slowly. But I want to make sure that everybody feels safe in a parking lot.
Barry, not. On the lighting issue, I can tell you that in all of the commercial applications that I've been involved in, which are numerous, the zoning commission is looking for low-level lighting facing away from possible residential homes in the area. And I think that's what you're talking about, Steve. But in this case, there are no residential homes in the area, but the low level lighting is be a good idea anyway. So I don't think we have a problem with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think if there's any way we can reduce the height of the poles, it would benefit all the adjacent area. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Jamie Millward, Chairman. A few things from me, Jim. I think I'm going to be the last to go here unless Smita has a few more things. But I wanted us to start in general, and that's that, our board is new. And look, I lived in town my entire life. I know you've done, a lot of great development in and around this whole area. But I think that, as we move forward in the future, there's a couple of comments on this, but, the information that we have here is really not, honestly, wouldn't really be enough for us to go on. You're talking about, well, maybe we'll do stone or maybe we'll do some raised panels or maybe, so I recognize that, part of the design process might be making changes and wanting to make it great as things are built. But, without that information, it's really kind of hard for us to comment on if we think it, is fitting as an attractive building. I mean, in this case, am I confident you're going to do something nice? Yes. But as a precedent for, anyone else who comes before us, really, that's the kind of thing that we'd be looking for. So, as you go forward, I think more information about, you're going to have to, select materials, at least present something as some idea of a color palette. So I just think that's an important thing as we move forward as the Architectural Review Board, which is, like I said, just underway, can really, effectively do our job. So that being said, I have a couple specific questions then about at least kind of what your intent is. And again, all we have to look at is that whole alien elevation, but the band that is above the windows that is going to post shade in, and there's a small sign there. What was the intent of what that material was?
Jim Fitzpatrick, petitioner. Actually, that's a little awning. That's awning there, and so I wanted to break it up. I didn't want to have a flat. Just it's not going to really do much. It's just going to be more for aesthetics, and
Jim, sorry to interrupt. I think you're muted.
We lost audio.
Yes.
Hey, Jimmy.
So Smita, do you see that? A lot of people just dropped off.
Jimmy, we lost your audio.
Is
you
it
hear me?
because
No.
the call, the meeting was only for an hour and a half?
No, everybody's back. Here we go.
Okay. Maybe because the internet
Okay.
connection was slow.
Jim Fitzpatrick again. Sorry about that. I didn't realize that. So where did I end up? I don't know where I ended up.
Jamie Millward, Chair. About 2 seconds after you started to speak, Jim, at least on my screen, everything froze. So if you
Yeah,
could,
my screen ended up freezing too. Jim Fitzpatrick.
You're talking about an awning.
Yeah. So did you hear anything about the awning?
We heard there was an awning.
Oh, he's frozen.
Barry, Susmitha, and me are the only ones not frozen on my end.
And Steve isn't frozen.
I think it's poor internet connection.
Well, before we lose everybody, I think somebody should make a motion to approve this thing so that we at least have a vote before the zoning committee next week.
Well, Jamie,
I don't put any words in your mouth, but Jimmy? Well, I'll put you on speaker here. You there?
I am.
I got Fitzpatrick on speaker here.
Okay, so I apologize, but it's definitely my end. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I can't see anyone. So the 2 foot, it's basically, it's an awning, it's for aesthetics.
Hang on a minute, Jimmy. What? Can you hear him?
I do hear him, but the question was asked by the chair and he's himself not there here. Can we just wait till he comes back on? Is Jamie on this call?
No.
Even the secretary is gone. So I think, you know, we need her to record whatever is happening here. Let me just text Aileen once.
Tom Sarkowitz, are you on?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Great.
Barry, in the meantime, could you ask Jim to re-log in?
Hey, Jimmy, re-log in. See if you could re-log in.
Okay.
Now I kind of know how Bell felt when he was playing with the telephones.
Aileen said they had a power outage and now she's trying to reconnect. And that's what has happened, I think, for most people who got disconnected.
Yeah, they had a power outage, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Who's this? The town?
San Francisco.
I will ask Aileen if she can call in.
All right, let me do it again.
And my computer's dying.
Can somebody give me the call-in number so I can text Aileen?
Yeah, I got it.
This is weird. It's not letting me go on.
All right, the call-in number, Smith, is 872-240-3212. And the code 752-577-397.
Okay, but hold on a second. You gotta give me that again because.
I was giving it to Sisnitha,
Oh,
but I'll give it to you too. 872-240-3212.
And what's
I
the
think I'm gonna
access
call
code?
it. I'm gonna call in that number too, because my computer's gonna die shortly.
Barry, can you give the access code before you drop off?
The access code is 752-577-397.
And the audio pin is 112. Hi, Irene. Welcome back.
Can you hear me?
Yes. I heard. Did you have a power outage there?
What?
You guys lost power?
I think we must have had a power outage or the internet went out or something, but Shannon didn't. Shannon lost it too, so.
Okay.
Do you have her back?
I don't have her cell phone number. Can you text her if you have her and ask her to call in? I gave you the call-in number, access code, and audio pin. I just texted you.
All right, I'm on the phone. I think I got a mute.
All right, I just texted her. Okay, I'm just waiting to hear back from her. Glenn, I lost audio again. I lost audio again.
Hello?
There we go.
All right. Jamie Millward, I'm back just on my cell phone, not seeing anybody. Is everyone hearing me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I guess I'm sorry. I missed kind of your answer, Jim. Jamie Millward, Chairman. So
Jim is Jamie, it's John Zabel. Jim is not on the call yet.
oh, he's not. Okay. So I'll just
No,
I
and
didn't
we're
find
also missing Shannon Hoven.
Okay. Are you guys all just on the phone or are you guys seeing the screen? You guys re-log in again?
John Zabel, board member. I'm seeing everyone. It's Susmitha. I'm not sure if she can hear me. She's saying she can't, but I am talking. Steve, Tom, and Aileen, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can. I'm sorry, Aileen Marsh, recording secretary. Jamie, you might, I don't know, you live near me. Our internet went out for a minute or so, and I just logged back in, and now it's okay. So you might want to try going back into the meeting.
All right. So if I close out, if I leave the meeting, is this gonna hang up my phone call right now? Do we know?
No. If you're on a landline, John Zabel, board member, if you're on a landline, you'll stay on the landline and then you'll either have to mute one or the other if you're able to log back in.
All right. So Jamie Millward, I'm gonna leave the meeting temporarily, and I will try and I'm gonna find that. I need to find the address I gotta go back into again. But okay, I'll try and get back in again. If I can't, then I'll call back in again.
Barry, not my computer went out. I think as soon as he comes back, you got to end this meeting. This is crazy. We're gonna end up losing everybody.
Susmitha, we can't hear you. I can see you, but we can't hear you.
I had just texted Susmitha asking if she could hear us, and that's when she went out, so.
And that's completely dead. Not coming back up.
And now, can anybody hear me? Because my son just told me our internet's completely dead now.
You're offline, David.
I can hear you, Aileen.
Totally messed up. I don't know what's going on. I can't even hold Google.
I have Shannon on the phone too.
Aileen, we can hear and see you.
You can?
I guess.
Yay.
No phones. Aileen?
It might be Optimum though. My son is telling me that we just lost phone and the TV, so
Yeah.
this could be an internet connection problem.
Shannon is telling me that she doesn't have internet either.
It's John Zabel. I have Optimum. I'm up north, but I have Optimum and we have everything, internet, phone, TV.
Try again.
I re-logged in. So
There
because
we
we
go.
have a quorum of 3 committee members here, I suggest the vice chair to take over the meeting. One second, let me just record this. John, I made you the co-organizer of the meeting.
I see that.
Okay,
Could you?
Susmita,
are
I'm
you-
back
Is
on
the
the
meeting
phone
still
only.
recording?
It is still recording and Jamie is still here. We
Yeah,
just can't
okay.
see
I'm on
him.
the phone only. I have no internet apparently, and so I cannot cannot join again at the moment. But I am on the phone.
He's
So is
caller
Barry
8.
there?
I'm sorry, Jamie
Is
Millward. I'm
Barry
sorry.
not, are you on call?
I'm on the phone. You got to end this meeting. This is going down quickly.
Yes, I agree. And is Jim Fitzpatrick on the call too?
Don't worry about Fitzpatrick.
Okay, so Jamie, I suggest, since we all can see Steve Law, the vice chair, I suggest if you can hand over the responsibility to Steve to conduct the rest of the meeting so that he can ask people to raise hands if they want to talk, or he can ask any other participant to speak.
Jamie Miller, Chair. That's fine. I think there may be other questions, but I was in the middle of asking Jim some things, but I'm not. Apparently, he's not going to be back on the call anyway. Is that correct?
Yes, at this point, Susmita Atota, town planner. At this point, I suggest before we lose everyone after, in a few minutes, that your comments could be addressed in the recommendation like questions for the zoning commission so that they can be picked up and addressed unless they are very major.
I may be able to answer the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Jamie Millward, should I continue then? And I'll certainly let Steve, I don't care, let Steve handle, so we can see everybody and when we vote and everything. But should I continue with my question?
If I can answer them, I will. Barry, not.
Okay. Jamie Millward, Chair. Yes, hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, sorry, Shannon. I lost internet in my house. It's completely down, so I just called in.
Okay, Jamie Millward, Chair. Shannon, yes, the same with me. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I obviously can't see you guys, and I have no more comments to make, so I'm just going to listen along until we're concluded.
Excuse
okay,
me, Jamie.
Jamie Millward. Yes, Susmita.
Susmita Atota, town planner. John Zabel has been raising his hand.
Okay.
Do you want to give him a turn
John
to speak?
Zabel, go ahead.
I'm just wondering for clarification, can the applicant call in, Barry, just so we could put a bow on this? I agree with you. I don't think anyone else is dropping. I think individuals had internet connections. Is there any way that Jim Fitzpatrick can call back in?
I'll try.
Yeah, Jamie Millward, Chair. I did. There was a phone number and the access code and the audio PIN number that you need to do that. I'm assuming you have that or not.
Yes, Jamie, I passed it on to everyone. Aileen, please. She raised her hand.
Aileen Marsh, Secretary. Barry, it might be easier at this point if you can just call Jim on your cell phone and put him on speakerphone instead of having him try to log into this meeting again. Would that be easier?
All right, he's calling in now.
Okay.
So, Jamie, Susmita, Total Town Planner, just to, for the efficiency of this meeting's sake, maybe in the next 5 minutes or so, let's try to wrap this up, because I would hate for you all to, lose connectivity, or, if the internet goes off again, you won't be able to vote on this item, and then it'll get automatically approved without your comments.
Do you think it's going to get denied?
No, it won't get denied, but there may be conditions that the ARB committee might have, or suggestions that could be incorporated, and we would have missed this opportunity.
Okay, Jamie Miller, Chair. I'm not sure. Is Jim on the phone yet, or no?
He's trying. I gave him the numbers.
It's not connecting, Barry. I tried to.
Oh, all right. Are you in the north end of town, Eileen?
Steve Law, Vice Chairman.
Yeah, I'm at.
Well, here comes caller 11.
I'm sorry.
Hello.
There he
Sorry.
Was that Jimmy?
Wow.
Okay, Jamie
Yeah,
Miller,
what
Chair.
an art-
I'll make this quick. Jamie Miller, Chair, and then we can, move the business of the meeting forward. And Steve, you can take over because I can't see anything. And I guess so. I kind of ran through my comments. I guess the last one I would say, Jim, I'm hoping you're hearing me, is that, and this is kind of reiterating what John had originally brought up, and that's the scale of that little gable dormer facing the road. All I could suggest is that, if you have two large gables facing either side, it seems to me, and I understand what the roof lines are doing, generally speaking, that perhaps the scale of that dormer might match the scale of the other two gable sides. And, so that would, take up a lot more of that roof line and create some visual interest up on the roof.
Jim Fitzpatrick, petitioner. I understand your point. I have no problem absolutely actually eliminating the large gable on the top of the roof and this gable and dropping it down to a regular hip roof, and then putting a nice cupola up there with a clock in it. I think that actually would be the best look. And what it will do is we'll take the largeness out of that higher portion of the roof, and it'll shrink it all down, and it'll all look a lot better, more symmetrical.
Okay, Jamie Miller, Chair. I guess that would be fine. We're not going to be able to, see that before before it happens, I guess, unless you'd be willing to kind of, come back and show us what you plan on doing. So with that, just in the spirit of trying to move this along, I'm finished with my commentary. So Steve, maybe you can take over from this point as far as running the meeting.
I'll try. I'll do my best.
Barry, I cannot hear anything that anybody's saying. It's breaking up.
I think we need to, Steve Law, Vice Chairman. Do we have any other comments from commission members? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Jamie
Shane
Miller,
Hogan, member, no
yes.
further comments.
Jamie.
What is it? I don't know if we have enough final information to make any kind of recommendation at this point.
Jamie, I'm sorry, Steve, Susmita, Town Planner. Can I talk?
I can't.
Go ahead, Susmita.
So based on everything that we discussed today, I have some key points that I have written down. One is that, one committee member wanted to see some bike parking spaces. The second is that some kind of sidewalk connectivity across from the shopping mall or internally, which the applicant has demonstrated an interest to do. And the third one is to provide color schemes of the, proposed elevation at a point when the applicant is in a stage to decide on the colors. so that ARB can get an opportunity to, look at those color schemes, just like we did for a previous review for another application where the applicant came back with a color scheme when they were ready. And I thought these were the general comments. If anybody else wanted to add to this, please add on, and then we can make a motion.
Vice Chairman Steve Law, if we're talking about changing the roof profile, I think we need to see some further elevations before we can render any recommendation favorable or not. Jamie, would you agree?
Jamie Millward, Chair. Yes, I would. I mean, I kind of where I was going in my general commentary, Steve. So yes.
Jim Fitzpatrick, petitioner. I understand everything that you're all speaking about and you're all concerned. I build nice buildings. I am trying to get through this dilemma here so I can get started. My dilemma with and I'm just finishing up the financing end of it. No lender wanted to finance ground up new construction restaurants in the state of Connecticut. So I'm getting over that. So that should be finished up, relatively soon. I'm concerned that by not having a leap of faith, and I understand why, because I'm like the first, maybe not the first, one of the first that is going to try to prove myself to you people, and I understand that. If I get pushed back another month or so, I'm going to be in a serious situation as far as moving forward with construction on this. I will talk to my architect tomorrow and see if he can just jump all over this and get a drawing that shows a new roof line, a cupola with a clock. We'll put colors down on it. We'll put some architectural roof on it. And, if I can get to a point where I can at least depict some parts of the siding, I would gladly do that. I mean, I'm willing to comply to move this forward and not build tomorrow's slums today. I'm not going to do that. I'm just asking in good faith that I will comply with and build a good looking building, one that I'm going to be proud of to own. And I'd like a little consideration potentially to see if we could just move this along so I could get into zoning this month. I just, that's my request. I just, I'm a pretty easygoing guy.
It's Barry now. Jimmy.
Thank you, Jim. Susmitha had a question. Susmitha?
Yes, Susmitha Arturo, town planner. So Jim, if you would like to submit a revised roof line for your drawing with the proposed color scheme, and you want us to render a decision prior to the zoning commission meeting, then I think we should all call in a special meeting again, just to look at the revised drawing and then render a decision on it. And that could be next week. I have a meeting next Tuesday, a planning commission meeting, but I could do next Wednesday. And if we all agree on a date and time, I can post the agenda for you for the special meeting, and then you can bring back your, revised roof. And then that would be the only item that should be discussed at that meeting. There is no minutes or anything else.
Jim Fitzpatrick, petitioner. I appreciate that tremendously, and if you other members would do that, I would greatly appreciate that. And I know it's taken another night out of your next week, and I apologize for that. But I will talk with my architect early in the morning and move this forward and get you what you want. I have a clear understanding of what you want, so we'll get that done.
Susmitha, Steve Law, Vice Chairman, does that allow enough timing for us to render a recommendation to zoning?
Yes, the zoning commission is meeting, I think, on April 22nd. And we still have time. So if we are doing it on April 15th, we can render a quick decision the next day. I will draft the letter. Depends on how soon Aileen gets me the meeting minutes, and I will draft a letter. And then I will let Jay Havansky also know about the situation. So if everybody can do Wednesday evening around 6 o'clock or 6:30 around this time, when I come back to work on Monday morning, I will file the agenda with the town clerk again.
Okay,
This is
any,
Barry Knott. Can you hear me?
yes, Barry, go ahead.
Can you hear me, Barry Knott?
We
Yes,
can
sir.
hear you, Barry.
Can you act on this thing tonight, subject to him providing you with these things that he's looking for? He's going to give you what you want.
Go ahead, Susmitha.
So as a committee, you can act on items that were discussed today that do not relate to the roof line, so that your meeting on Wednesday will be shorter. And if once he brings back the roof line on Wednesday, you could just, look at the roof line and say what only that item you can, propose your recommendation. So if you have anything else.
Any other comments?
I can't hear you. I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me, Barry?
No, you're all breaking up badly.
Go ahead, Susmitha.
So because this is not working out anyway, I suggest to adjourn the meeting on the condition that the applicant would bring back a revised roof line drawing, and so that we can reconvene on Wednesday and swiftly act on the decision, not taking too much time for anybody else. It should be short, like 30 to 40 minutes. I don't know, even less than that. At this point, if it doesn't serve anybody any good if nobody's hearing us to carry on and, render a decision.
Do I hear any motions in the same? Jamie?
I'll motion. Jamie Millward, I will motion.
Shannon Hovan, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 What did you just do?
We made a motion to reconvene based contingent upon the applicant Jim Fitzpatrick coming back with a revised elevation and roof profile so that we can make a decision on the overall massing of the roof.
Thank you.
Steve, because you re-announced everything, could you ask them to make a motion right now? Because earlier you did not announce that.
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I can get it from you tomorrow, Susmitha.
Okay. So before we end the call, can everybody make next Wednesday at 6:30? This meeting should be quick.
What day?
Everybody,
What day is it?
next Wednesday is April 15th.
Yes, I can make it.
Hovan, yes, I can.
Jamie,
Okay.
I can make it.
Sounds good. I am going to go ahead and prepare a meeting agenda. Aileen, I'll coordinate with you on Monday. And let's get that posted. Thank you very much. I'm sorry about this inconvenience, everyone.
Okay, thanks, Jamie. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Meeting adjourned.